Check, check. Check. Check, check. Fuck. Check, 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 check. Check, check. All right, guys. Tell me if that mic is too loud. I can't hear it in my headphones. Hang on. I'm recording it right now, so I'll be able to hear it. Give me a second. Sorry. There we go. Mic check confirmed. Good, thank you. Sounds clear and perfect to me. All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, guys, here we go. Farcoin is a choppy piece of crap. I just want to say that before we even get started. I don't like this coin anymore. I'm just kidding. It's got to take off, right? I mean, it broke down last week and it failed to go anywhere from there. We've been trading in this piece of garbage rain for 4 days. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these prices. Look at this 8-hour chart. Ugh. Come on. It looks like it wants to go, but I mean, this is a perfect setup also to kind of fake out the bulls and then dump it in our face. I don't know what it's going to do today, obviously. As long as the Bitcoin dominance chart looks like this, then I need to be potentially looking for upside swings on alts. However, there is something that I'm Farcoin. Obviously, I'm long Farcoin. I've already took one scalp this morning. Here it is up here. You can see that I took profits of $252 this morning, and I'm still holding a long position on it. And I have a long position on Penguin. I think Penguin is okay right here, even if you haven't gotten in yet, because when 930 comes along, we're going to see some volatility at the open, right at the 930 bell, right? So you still might be able to get in on a pullback on Penguin. This is what I'm looking at right here. If you go back to the London session open, which is right here, look at this volume climbing through here. Right at this price point, right around 42,127. So if I bring this line over here, it's like right through here. Notice that volume. Like, look at these prices. Ooh. Right through here, and look at the volume at the same time. A lot of volume was thrown down at the London session and then dried up right here. So I'm looking for this area to hold as support going forward. Okay, so I'm going to take a long. Make sure your stop isn't super big. Make sure you're not putting on a lot of leverage, because this thing moves. Little small position with a little bit of leverage. If it gets going to the upside, it's going to rock and roll. Now, obviously, I don't know that it will go to the upside. This could all that volume could have been the sell side volume, and they just eased up right in here because you're at around the lows of the session in this area. All right. Where is the open of the day? That's going to be right here. So you're down on the day. Down on the day. It's not a great looking trade for the upside, right? But I like it. I mean, there's something fishy about that volume. It just is. Saturday, this thing was up almost 14% at one point in the day. Right in here, and then it pulled back. Excuse me, that's Sunday. Saturday, Friday, going into Friday. So right into here, this is Saturday's open. Right here, this red candle, that's Saturday's open. The Saturday had a big move up, while everything else was doing absolutely nothing. And looking at the daily chart on this, it looks right to go, but this could be a bear trap. And it's right now in the process of trying to form a trap. I mean, if we take out the low and then reject, we could still potentially look for longs, yesterday's low. But if you take out the low and get downside continuation, then obviously the long trade idea for the day will be wrecked. Right? It'll be crushed. And then I was looking at Book of Meme, but yeah. Same thing. Very choppy. Difficult to trade. These are 30-minute candles. You're getting chopped up intraday. On the 5-minute chart, it looks like this. Just back and forth, up and down, garbage, garbage, garbage. And then, of course, we're trying to nail a rest of year short on USD JPY. Now, clearly, I don't know if it's going to work because, let's be honest, if the yen is stronger than the dollar, then a lot of people are going to look at that as a risk-off scenario, potentially for the markets and Bitcoin. So if the yen is really strong, I'm not really looking for the yen to be really strong. I'm just looking for the USD to be a little weaker than the yen. That's all. This is a pair. It's a cross pair. So I'm not necessarily looking to be super long JPY or super bearish USD, because if we look at either one of those two assets by themselves, neither one fit this freaking trade. And so I don't love it. But analyzing the trend, this is a short all day long, all week long. It is a short. Now, we went over this trade in depth yesterday for the members only. So today we'll go into it a little bit later into the stream. We'll go into it more in depth. Like I'll break it down from a large time frame perspective. I did that on a Saturday upload. If you want to go check that out. I didn't go super in depth on it, but for trending purposes, like if you are a trend following trader like I am, then you have to be short this as long as it is below April's high. All right. As long as it's below April's high. Here's a quick look at what we're seeing here. We only care about this year. We don't care about last year's data. But when you look at the chart as a whole, you do have a clear and obvious head and shoulders here and their neckline way down there. What I don't love that. That's not what I love. This is what I love right here. So this is this year's data. At the very beginning of the year, we set a yearly high and we rolled over for the first 4 months of the year. Boom, boom, boom. For the last 4 months, we've been trading inside of April's range. April's range. So if you break out to the upside here and you start trading above 151.305, that's going to be the bearish invalidation for this setup. In a sense, you have here a bear flag. There's your bear flag right there. And we've liquidated June's high. So from this point forward, as long as price is right here or even under it, right? I want to be short to catch that longer term, like I said, trade. I have a downside pattern on this of 135. That's a measured move from a breakdown. That's all that is. And of course, I'm going to take take profits ahead of the exact bottom of the arrow because I don't know exactly how low it can go. I don't know if it will go lower. I'm just saying, for a trend analysis, this is a short. This is almost the same exact pattern that we had on Bitcoin in April of 2022. That was one of the best trades of my life, let alone best trade of that year. That was a fabulous trade because we had a downside target on that of 26K, and we know Bitcoin went well below 26K. So I think you could be down anywhere between 8 and 14% by the year end on this, if this formation, if this trend breaks down. That's all. That's all I'm looking at. There's your yearly range. And this does trend, or let me say this, it has been trending really well for the last 4 years. Here's a breakdown of all your yearly trends. All right. So what's this? 2020, it at the beginning of the year, it chopped around the yearly open for a little bit here, but then after it broke down right in there, it was over for the rest of the year. And you can see all of these up here, all of these bullish trends. They basically did the same thing. Nice big bullish move at the beginning of the year, midway through the year, chop city, and then you broke out and moved on higher. So we're looking for the same pattern. So we're looking for a year to end anywhere between 8 and 14% on the year. So it's just a longer term trend potentially on this So if the trend continues, that's what we're going to look for. We're looking for shorts. All right. And if that does have larger ramifications for risk markets, if the Japanese yen does get extremely strong, then clearly we'll take profits on any long positions we're holding on ES and Bitcoin, and we'll look for shorts. It's just as easy as that. We don't love any of these things. We trade them. That's all we're doing. We're traders. So I don't care if they go to 0 or if they go to 1,000,000. I just want to participate in the volatility. Here's Fartcoin. It's up 2% on the day. It's chopping around this. So, I mean, a quick flash under here is going to stop me and a lot of other people out just because it's been acting as support. There's no like major or higher time frame level here. It's literally just the not last 4 hour, but the 4 hour session prior to the previous 4 hour session's low. That's all that is. Like that's the high time frame level. That price is currently acting like it's trying to find support here. But I mean, we've been testing it for so long at this point, it almost feels like it's going to break down. So I mean, if you don't want to chance the long, be my guest to take the short, right? Dominance is pushing up higher here. As long as that's happening, then alts will melt, right? Usually, not always, but usually. And we're starting to see a lot more red on the watch list over here. This morning, pretty much everything was green, but now things are starting to look a lot more red. And this 4 hour candle that we're on right now for Bitcoin definitely looks like a rejection. There's still 2 hours and 40 minutes left on this candle. This candle could close as a bullish engulfing. There's still plenty of time. Obviously, if it closes like this, it's going to be a bearish engulfing. Almost. I mean, it's got to take out the previous 4 hour candle's low, but I mean, it's right there. It would be so easy to do, wouldn't it? I mean, that's nowhere. A wick will get that. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. And then Penguin. And the only reason I'm interested in Penguin is because there was a ton of volume for the London session and then it just dried up. That could be also the reason why it hasn't failed. This could be selling volume here and they just eased up. So yeah, I don't know. But this is very curious. Very curious to me. So somebody big is either selling their penguins or somebody is buying. At these prices, I would have to say selling. You know what I mean? It's way up. It's way up on the year. It's way up on the month. You're at the month highs and it's late month. There's literally 3 days left of this month. So August's candle is going to open somewhere in here. So this could be a short as well as a long. I just don't see like, I don't like to short the low of day. But we may have to. We'll see what it does. What can we short though? Let's see. I guess we could short the 30-minute moving average if we don't love the long. So let's close out both of these positions and start over fresh. We've already booked $250. You're breaking down below these lows right now on Fartcoin. I don't want to close the Fartcoin just yet because support is here. Sorry about that this morning with the mic check. I actually did not think I was live yet. So yeah, apologies on that. But it's all good. People that come here are coming here for the alpha, right? That's what you're here for, the alpha. The info is golden. So we're pushing pretty hard here. Bonk also had a nice explosive move this morning. We could also potentially look for a short on Bonk. So I don't know exactly if I want to be short or long yet. I'm long Fartcoin. But it's giving back all of the gains. So we're going to see if it can hold support here. We got 6 minutes on this close. A run back up above this line and a close up in there will look a little bit okay for me still, but a close under here is not going to look great. The position is currently down $22 with a realized gain of 253, so we're in good shape. When assets are super choppy like this, it's really good to take profits quicker. That's all I did this morning. I got a bounce in my direction and I was up nicely, so I took profits. And I'm glad I did because it literally rolled over as soon as I did it. And it's been rolling over ever since. So maybe I'm the reason Fartcoin is rolling over this morning with my massive $200 position. Mike check confirm sounds clear. Good morning. Short everything to zero and dance on their graves. Yeah, let's do that. Sounds like a plan. Not just yet though. We're gonna see what happens through here because this is a fresh run. Oh no, it isn't. It needs to get under there, and then that would pretty much do in London sessions low. Right, so this is your daily open, and then your London session open is through here. So you set a higher high. It's not quite a higher daily high, just a higher high through London, and they sold it off. But the big volume didn't come in until about 5 o'clock this morning. That's when the big volumes came in here. We don't love the short just yet. We got 5 minutes until the bell. And something of note here that I noticed this weekend was this is the VIX futures / VX futures. And I want you to look at the contango we got going on here. Right now, the VIX is trading at 1523. And then just 23 days out, they got the VIX trading at 1750. So they're pricing in forward risk, and that risk is only 30 days out. Right? That's $2, dude. That's $2. And if we go further out in time, that contango gets worse. 51 days out, they got the VX futures at 19, and then 80 days out at 20. So basically, we only want to see like a 50 cents deviation like this. Like, I would like to see this at like 1605, as that's pretty standard. This is rather large. It's just hedging is all it is, but still, it's quite a bit. It's quite a bit of hedging happening. I just wanted you guys to know that going into today, in case you didn't, right? So they are pricing in heavier risk next month, but that doesn't mean it will come to pass. S&Ps are pulling back. They've been pulling back since the bell, or since last night's futures market opened, I should say. And what I'm looking for on the USG JPY with that limit order is just to get a fill maybe at the bell. If we're trading above the highs of day, then I don't care, right? I want out. This is a 1% risk. I'm going to take up to 2% on this trade once time goes on. We have a lot of high event risk this week. We got We got GDP on Wednesday. We also have an FOMC meeting and news conference on Wednesday. Then Friday, we have non-farm payrolls. A lot of high event risk this week. So this week might not be the best week to look for the USD JPY short. But as long as we're trading above 148.50, I don't love the short. All right, I want it to stay under my fib of April, because that's the range we're in. The fib of April is right here. The 786 of April's range is right here. That's kind of like my line in the sand where I want to see prices fail to stay above this. I want to see them kind of drift away from this to the downside to give me that, slight edge that I could be right. But we'll see what it does. So that's why my stop is up here. That's a 25 pip move, by the way. That's a pretty big move. So this thing was up here. You're up on the day 0.5% on USD JPY. So that's why my stop is up there. And then limit sell is right here. So hopefully at the bell we get a push. As I don't want to chase it in. I'm already in on the small account. I'm already in on my main account. I just don't have this trade on yet. But I'm in it already from up here. Because it was putting in a very small time frame rising wedge. So I got short in this area right here. On both my other accounts. Because this trade setup I will take every single time, whether it works or not, for the long-term trade. This is like a trade that you could potentially get in and stay in for all year long. All right, back over to the alts here. I'm going to go ahead and try a long on Penguin real quick, because it's not pushing deep on this 4 hour yet. So I'm gonna put this on rather small here and just open a long market and see what happens with it. And then I'm just gonna keep my eye on the Farcoin. So if it starts to dig like below $30, then I'll just exit it and look for a later entry later. If you want to wait for a run below the lows, you could do that. There's a million things you could do, right? I don't know how you want to trade it. Bitcoin is still down on the day. Weekly res right here. You also have the weekly, which is also today's VWAP above you. So yesterday Bitcoin or last night Bitcoin made a run, and then it just failed for the rest of the night. So we'll see at this weekly resistance, and this is weekly resistance right here. It's just the highest weekly close. Last week or yesterday we closed above that, so that technically is a break. So in this scenario, the weekly open is where I'd want to see support hold, but right here is the highest weekly close until yesterday. So if this is a failure point from here, then we'll have a target of this low down here later on in the week. So you can mark the open of this week if you want, and just kind of trade, like look for your scalps from those areas. So here's the week open. And we're pushing. So Farcoin is dropped. So I gave back pretty good amount of those profits. Not great. And there goes the low on Pingu. And that's because we're seeing Bitcoin push down while dominance pushes up here. So I'm out of the Fartcoin short. I mean long, sorry. I'm out of it. That took me out right there. Not quite sure what that fib is. Oh, that's the July fib. To be honest with you, I mean, this is a daily res rejection, right? Here, let me just get rid of that. Whatever that was, I don't know. Give me that back. Dude, I don't want that. I want this. Thank you. That's daily res. Yeah. Okay. Seeing big volumes here. If that yen strengthens up, it could be causing issues with risky markets, guys. If the rest of the market is looking at the same thing I'm seeing with that USD JPY, then, and with that VIX pricing in so much risk in 28 days or 23 days, we could be seeing some of these things top out. It's just late month, so people will really start to put risk back on next month. Next month is Friday. August's open is Friday. So we could be bearish pretty much all week this week and then get bullish Friday again for August. Time will tell. That's yesterday's low. Still, man, not a lot of volume. What is going on with this? I have to look at it. As long as prices is rejecting this white line, then this to me is going to be a lot, somebody big sold, right? As that would have a longer lasting effect on the market. But if it finds support here and starts to rip, then I'm going to look at it as a buy. So we're kind of in this zone right here, no man's land. And then here's your 930 open, so close to that spot. So we'll just use this to kind of give us an idea as price goes on, what it's doing. So for your shorts, this is pretty close to the area you would want to be shorting, or as high. If you get a test of 42.3, that's where you would definitely want to see it roll over. But one could arguably just short here and then throw your risk above these 30-minute swing highs, as your target would be just under this wick that you've already put in. So what's Fartcoin doing now? Fartcoin is still bullish on the day. We got 23 minutes. We just opened this 30-minute candle. So let's mark this blue line out so we can keep an eye on it on a smaller time frame chart. We just want to know where about that is. Right, because that's where, like, I would want my, if the trend is going to remain up, this was all chop, there's the breakout. So this would be considered the retest. It's if the buyers are here. It's so late in the month, though, we don't know that they will be here. And we did see a lot of profit taking last week on this. Bonk is up 4% on the day, and that's a pretty drastic pullback, and everything else is red. Fartcoin is up, hype is up. This could be it here. Dominance is trending down, so we want to have more of a downside bias on dominance. That puts us with a longer long side bias on alts. Now, if dominance gets above this, then our bias changes. Like over here, we got above it, we retested it. You got a deeper push in here, but ultimately it was a retest, right? Same scenario here. You've lost the trend, you retested it. So this is just a trend retest for now, until you have proof, like a day, maybe 2 days where you're trading back above it. Then your trend has potentially reversed. So we do have slightly more of a bullish bias going into this morning. Let's get rid of our July volume weighted average price, because that is not the right location. Okay, so you're way up above the 930 open. This is your 930 open. This is pretty much as far as you would want to see it go if you have a sell side bias. This is going to be your intraday VWAP. It's the week VWAP as well. This week's, we're just on the first day of the week. So this is as far as you would want to see it go, really, if it's a sell, right? Big volumes coming in on this candle. Dominance is 0.07 down. We opened just under zero on the ES, on the ADD. We're negative on the day. We're red on the day. And we're well under. So right now we're putting in a low on ES. And we just retested the intraday VWAP on NQ. So this could just be like a bullish fake out here. You are not going to fill me, are you? I'm going to go ahead and chase it from here. We want to just mark it in with a 1% risk. Okay, so we're good there. We're in this. We get back up here. We want to be out of it anyway, right? So it'll be a 1.26% loss. But we don't want to chase it, but at the same time, we don't want it to just start. This was a 25 pip move in the span of 5 minutes, right? It can really take off when it gets going. And since we could be setting the daily lows on risk markets, but since the risk markets are at daily lows, NQ's pulling up. Tesla is gapping down this morning. Come on. No, it's not. It's gapping up actually from Friday's close. What do we got on Apple? Apple, we are just kind of unchanged with Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of unched, and Nvidia is gapping up from Friday. So confusing situation here. This is where you would be wanting to short if you think it's going lower. We got a little bounce here on Penguin. So, Fartcoin's up. Hype is up. Hype is pushing. Dominance is pushing lower. Barely, but it is. And Bitcoin is trying to push up. Is there anything up here that's important? June's high. But I mean, this is a breakout. This is a good, nice run. Here's your open. You pushed up. You had 2 4-hour period, 8 hours of consolidation, and now we're ripping. This candle opens at 8 a.m. and it's ripping. So this could be a leader. Well, it is a leader. So maybe we want to focus. You got your 4-hour exponentials here, 21 and 100. You're pushing into the midpoint here on the 4-hour on the RSI. You're just under it though on the 8-hour. So you're an inside 8-hour candle. This could act as sell side pressure, but the daily is breaking out above. Yeah, I have to have a bullish bias on Fartcoin as long as it's trading above $1.35. Where's $1.35? It's right here. Okay, so as long as it's trading above this region here, I have to have a bullish bias. But I can see here, I can do long Pingu and maybe, which one would be the best one to short? Definitely not this one because it's strong. Jasmine is weak. W is weak. Bonkers is up 8% on the day. So this has me also kind of bullish, right? This is a failed breakdown out of a larger time frame pattern. It's just a wedging formation. That's what you get when you're in a range. So you're still just range bound on this. But this does look like a failed breakdown. So we could potentially wait for Bonk to break out here. If it breaks out, we could look to buy a retest, like around noon or something, if it does in fact break out. NQ is retesting intraday VWAP right now. NQ is a doji on the day. Bitcoin futures has a huge gap up. Here's your Bitcoin futures. So there's a big gap here. All the way down to 118.9. Oh, 118.9. All right, so we're failing here. I think I'm going to take a short on Fartcoin. And the risk could just be right here. So let's pull up the Fart and let's take a short. Let it push up a little bit. I don't love this 4-hour formation though, man. Jesus. This doesn't look like a short. I'm gonna take it. This way I can have one position short and one position long and then see what happens. So, I mean, Yeah, this looks like a failure, right? And under this blue line, you're under the 30-minute. You're under the 30-minute 100 exponential. So this is like a buying opportunity if you have a long side bias. It's also daily res. So I mean, and we've traded above it today. That's your daily wick. So and in theory, this is kind of where you would want to see it hold. Good morning, traders. What's up, Janet Thoughts? I just took looked at the price of Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it's just so high. It seems people forget how easily crypto can go down. Yeah, but you can't forget how strong it can be also, right? Thinking that ETH won't go under 3K or 2K again will wreck a lot of peeps. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we're pushing lower on the dominance, 0.07, but it's not looking like a failure, right? Like, we would want to see this start to push down a lot harder than it is. Well, look at that. I would have got filled. So this is like the area that I want to see hold. Right? Tesla's pushing up, making a fresh high of day. Still trading under last Friday's high, though. So you basically just traded down to where Friday closed, right around where Friday closed, and that's where the buyers hit it up. NQ is failing, kind of. And Nvidia has made a fresh daily high of 175.37. That's also a fresh all-time high on Nvidia, 175.37. So you have a fresh all-time high on Nvidia. The markets are just mixed. Looks like sellers are trying to get the gap to fill on Bitcoin futures. Here's your fresh all-time high on Nvidia. See if there's any profit taking today. And then Google's down a little bit. Microsoft kind of, it's pretty much unchanged from Friday's close. This is the close on Friday. Apple is kind of unchanged. So we may have a scenario where the markets just chop all day back and forth from like lows to highs and then from highs to lows until Wednesday, because you got GDP and FOMC on Wednesday. We might not see a big day today on anything. We might just see a very choppy consolidating day. That would really suck if it happens on Fartcoin, because it's literally been doing that for like 28 4-hour candles, and I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? Like, this closing on Thursday was the last time you pushed. And since then, you've basically been inside this candle's range. A little bit of time was spent under it, but we broke down and we traded right back into it. And we've been staying in this candle since. So like, I really want to see it go either direction. I don't care. Just do something, please. And Pingu here, pushing back lower, but trying to potentially find support here from that 4-hour exponential. And the daily, you're still super far extended from your exponential. So I'm not putting a lot of weight on that 4-hour 21 EMA. just because of how stretched out you are on the daily. So just looking at the 8 hour, it looks like it's trying to reject. But this is still the area where that huge volume came in. So we have to be cautious. We need it to leave this area, either to the upside or to the downside. And it does look like this triggered a lot of sell stops, short stop losses up here. All right, let me just close the bonk for now. I mean, penguin. Just for now, just give it time. While it's doing this, it's. I don't want to. If Fartcoin cuts away here, I want to be able to capitalize on it. And I like this volume structure for a push lower. Right? I like it for a push lower. This looks good. And it could be a pretty sizable push if it gets going, because it's been choppy for so long. So since the second half of Thursday, it's been choppy. Still looks like a long because it's going up, but I mean, this looks like a clear rejection. There's been a lot of time here. A lot of time has passed by. And you know as much as I do, when the bulls are in control of these things, it does not take a lot of time, right? It doesn't. So anytime you get a big bullish candle like this, and then it kind of rejects, you got to be very cautious with those, because if it was super bullish, you would think that it would have started to go up already, right? To give it all the way back, it's like, what? And yen's pushing up to the stop, so if we eat that stop, it'll be fine. We'll look at it again later on into the week or next week and take another shot at it. Hype rejecting July or June's high. That's a freaking good looking bullish candle today, though. After failing to go breaking down here, boom. So I don't love the shorts, guys. And here's another thing that I'll show you on Fartcoin that I just looked up and noticed here. If we fib this expansion candles range, I mean, technically, as long as you're above this, that's still a threat to the upside. Right? The 786 is pretty much when we know these things are done. When they break down, then the lows are target, and these two lows will then become the target. But I would want to see that yen pushing down to confirm a downside bias on your risky assets. Since the yen is pushing back up to day highs, that kind of says risk isn't off, right? It's actually on. But that could just be from the overall strength that we're seeing on the dollar today. That's probably why these things aren't breaking out. The dollar is so strong today. The reason the dollar is so strong is because there's a massive trend line down here. Massive. This goes back all the way to 2011. It starts down here. It caught it here back in 2021. And it could be catching this right in here. And this is a bullish. People do look for these descending wedges like this to break out with bullish potential, not bearish. So looks like the dollar is looking for that breakout. It's a higher low also. And another thing we saw Friday when we did the live stream on Friday, that these lows are insignificant, right? So it's like a three drive bottoming formation. It creates the wedging pattern. It's also known as a Wyckoff accumulation formation or a descending wedge, a three drive bottoming formation. All of those three things are all the same. They're all the same thing. So strong dollars putting pressure on the alts a little bit today. Starting to lose support here on Farcoin. Let's see if it can lose this 786. As long as that 786 is still intact there, then my short just does not feel that great. Because if the dollar pulls back and these things are strong and they just can't get anything going because of the dollar strength, if the dollar finds the top of like that daily high and then starts to weaken a little bit, these things can pop. But risk is still pushing lower. Right now, S&P 500, the CFD product, is pushing into the previous week's high in the weekly open. So it could find support here. Oil is up on the day. It took out Friday's high. So anybody that shorted oil Friday is now stuck. So oil can continue higher. VIX is still at 1542 around the high of day. We've gotten back some of that loss. I made $250 this morning. Then I lost $80 on Farcoin. So that's a profit of 130, 120-ish. So if this continues to go lower, I'll get that back. I'm out of the ping when I lost that. So down, we're up about $100 on the day. Pingu this is not looking bad. Bonk is still up 6.8%. Hype is still up 3.2%. Sol is up 0.7%. Both total 2 and total 3 charts down 0.6%. So making fresh daily lows down here. On total 2, total 3 doing the same thing. Fresh daily lows. And the ones that are down, they're not like getting downside continuation. Like Farcoin is still up on the day. There just isn't. It's like a non, very slow, very light liquidity. No volatility really. Boring. Just boring. Can you look at H bar? Yeah, while we're waiting here for these things. Oh, wait. That's a stock, right? Or is it a crypto? It's a crypto. It looks okay as long as it can hold its... Let's get rid of all this garbage. As long as it can hold the yearly opening range. I mean, that's what you want, right? You want your asset to become positive on the year and then stay positive on the year. You don't want to see it fail back under that, because if it does, anybody that bought it at the beginning of the year will have to sell it, right? Because you're in H2 of the year. The first half of the year is set in stone. So you're in that second half of the year now. And it's good that you got this run at the beginning of the quarter, right? July started the second half of the year and Q3. So it's good that you got that move up for July. But you want to see that continue for the month of August. You don't want to see it just slowly giving back those gains, because anybody that bought it at the beginning of the year wants it to stay positive, right? So if it fails to do that, and it starts to look like H2 is going to look like H1 for the majority, they'll just exit, and that'll cause more selling pressure. So it looks good, and it's at the end of the month, so I wouldn't be taking fresh long positions right now. The fresh long positions on these, if you think like a money manager, will be in August, not the end of July, right? Just if you are a month over month trader, if you hold month over month, it don't matter. But if you're taking fresh monthly entries on these things, then you're going to wait until Friday and then next week to start looking for fresh bullish positions. So this week could just be a pullback week or a choppy week for a lot of these, because it's so late in the month. It's the end of the month. This is very good gains for the month of July. Very good. Fantastic stuff. Right? You're up 100% on the month. You cannot complain. Or your highs are at 100%. Can't complain about that. But, late month, your monthly traders, they're going to be taking profits, exiting. That's what's causing the selling pressure here these 2 days. That's why we saw selling pressure on Fartcoin. We didn't start to see profit taking until Wednesday and Thursday on Fartcoin. And it was a lot of profit taking because we lost a significant portion of July's range from that profit taking. So right now, Fartcoin is at a spot that, in my opinion, it needs to hold for August buyers to say, yeah, I think we're going to see more upside continuation. If it loses this area, those buyers are going to be like, well, I don't know. Can it maintain those gains? It just becomes a lot less clear. So we want to see Fartcoin hold here. Longer term, it's the midpoint of the monthly range, also in this area. Not just the fib of this 4-hour candle, it's also the long-term fib. It just accidentally got deleted. You can see it right here. This 50% retracement, as long as we're above that, my long-term bias is up. It's bullish. Under this, and I start to lose that bullish bias. So this could just be a support test right now. We're also seeing risk markets move back to the upside. You've got the NQ closing a 15-minute candle above the intraday volume weighted average price. ES is still trying to make its way back to that point. Apple is back to being bullish on the day. Tesla's up on the day. Nvidia is up on the day and retesting intraday volume weighted average price. But things are starting to turn around and look a little bit more bullish for risk markets. And Bitcoin's not rolling over. So here's the thing. Is this a trap? Because this is the first hour that you've broken down here. So you have lost intraday support on an hourly closing basis. So sellers would be wanting to sell a supply zone or resistance here if they think they're going to see downside continuation on Bitcoin. So that is last week's range. Bitcoin could pull back all the way to here and still remain bullish. It just wouldn't be bullish today. But as far as on the weekly range would still be a bullish pullback all the way down to here. Actually, all the way down to here is still a bullish pullback, but for the bulls to stay real strong, I like to just see wicks and then it roll right back to the upside. And we don't have like that 4-hour chart. It isn't closing anytime soon. We still got 2 hours on this close. This candle can close as a bullish engulfing. I mean, it looks like a failure on the day range for Farcoin. But in the context of this breakout here, this is still a buying opportunity. For your more patient, larger term traders, a lot of support down here. That midpoint for the monthly range, we broke out above that at the open of the day. We're only 40 minutes into the New York session. This could be the lows, the intraday lows being made right now. We'll see if they are. If they are, we'll change our mind here. All you gotta do is watch this closing candle. If these are going to be the intraday lows, you should not see a lower 5-minute close. If the lows aren't done, then you will. Right? You will start to see lower closes. It still looks weaker. It's consolidating at the intraday lows. So if the sellers can keep it under here, under this point, it still looks like that secondary price run to get you down here can happen. So, like, it doesn't look like support is in yet. It isn't until you're back up in this area where it looks like, okay, maybe this is going to be the support, right? And then we can target this high up here. That's still a pretty good move, right? Even if we don't catch the lows. That's a 2.8% move to the upside. But it's kind of like mid-range, if you will. You're right in the middle of the range. It's a very difficult trade when you're in the middle of the range. because we still don't know who's going to win out. What's going to win out? Is price looking to run lower or is it looking to run higher? We still don't know. With this structure and everything, the way it's formed and the time that's going on, it still feels weaker than it does strong. But that all changes up here. That all changes. Ignore the very, very small time moving averages. I only care about the moving average, the 100 on the 30 minute. And then I really don't care about moving averages until we get out to the 8 hour and daily. But that 30-minute 100 is a pretty good trend identifier. For people that struggle identifying trend, it can help you, right? So this has been choppy for 3 days. Clearly a moving average isn't really going to be helpful in that scenario. But when you are trending, right? When you are trending, it is very helpful. So do you see how this 30-minute is still sloped up? The 100 EMA. EMAs put more, they put more weighting on this current price action. That's why it's called an exponential. A simple moving average takes into account all the 100 previous candles together, at the same. So I just like the EMAs because it puts more emphasis on the near term candles. But you can see it is still sloping up. It hasn't rolled over yet. So you're very sideways and choppy here. You have been. You should have seen trend continuation from this point last week. We didn't get it. We failed, but we went into the weekend, right? So, Are we going to see that trend resume here? Or has the trend shifted back to the upside? And that's what you're going to have to deal with for the next 2 to 3 hours. Now, clearly, if it cuts loose and starts bleeding, then you'll know, right? You'll know. The larger trend is still resumed to the downside. And this was just a deeper correction out of the trend. A trap, if you will. But right now, we just don't know. We're not seeing continuation. It's very choppy. So when we're in this environment, we have to be very quick to take our profits. That's why I was in and out of the fart coin early this morning, because we're in this scenario, this condition, which is sideways choppy. Once we start resuming trend, whether the trend resumes up or the trend resumes down, then we'll be able to stay in the positions longer. Then we'll be able to look for those pullback retest buys or pullback retest sells and stay in them longer, because we're in trend resumption. But for now, we're just chopping back and forth. So when we get our moves, we exit, take profits, and then maybe look to scalp the opposite direction, or whatever you want to do. The volume, as far as the volume profile is concerned here, it does look like it's structured nicely for a downside move. But the value area suggests we're going to see a higher move, right? So if you can't get continuation lower from here down, then the buyers are still in control. Your value area highs up here, your value area low is here. But right now, you're undervalued. You see what I'm saying? The value area for yesterday was down here. Oh, yesterday it was lower, so we were looking for a trend continuation yesterday. We didn't get it. So it's just chop. It's impossible to catch good moves when it's doing this in this environment. This is why I tell you guys to take profits quicker. It is what it is. But eventually we're going to either break down or break back to the upside. And when that happens, we can stay in these longer, bigger trend continuation moves. Like right now, you're making fresh day highs on Apple. Microsoft is in the middle of the daily range, and Nvidia has found support intraday at the VWAP for now. Tesla is also pushing to the upside, making fresh daily highs. Tesla has taken out Friday's high. So some markets are bullish and some are not. Bitcoin is making fresh lows on the CME chart right now. It's making fresh daily lows on the spot market chart right now. So if it cuts loose, then we might get that trending downside move on Fartcoin here. So this is the line in the sand. This is as low as I would want to see it go if I was a buyer. Being a buyer here is okay. Stop would be the low of day. Now, if this structure changes, the value area changes, which I'm not really seeing confirmation that that's going to happen anytime soon. Right? You're not seeing a buildup of volume down here. You're not seeing these nodes come in here and get larger yet. You may. We're on the 30-minute. On the 1 minute, they are changing probably. Then this value area will shift. The high will come down a little bit, the low will come down. And then that would be more suitable for downside continuation. As long as it's way up here like this, the value area suggests that this is a support test only. But nothing works every time in trading. So like you could literally be a buyer here on Fartcoin, because it's so, the value area is so high, the value area low, but it doesn't mean you'll make money on that trade. It's all just suggestive because it's all sideways and choppy and garbage. This is POS type of price action. Piece of snot. Of course, we want to see our trending moves when we're in the trade. So I'd like to see that 4-hour low get smoked. That's also the daily low. We can look at other indicators to kind of help our analysis, but nothing is going to tell you for exact certainty that you're going to be right. This is Fartcoin's liquidity on a 12-hour basis. Let's see what it looks like on a weekly basis. Let's see if there's any big liquidity under us. There really isn't. Not until you get down to 127. In fact, there's like no liquidity right down in here, which we know is bullshit because there's a swing low right there. So it wouldn't be much to push through that. There is a lot of liquidations to happen above near-term price. But these, those are your short stop losses up there. It doesn't mean prices got to go up there to get them. And at this point, it looks like the shorts are winning. We're seeing a lower push on NQ and ES also, but not like making fresh daily lows or anything. Big volumes coming in here. This is like it's a choppy day, so you can literally be a buyer on oversold readings. It doesn't mean it'll work, so mind your risk, but you get what I'm saying. It's very choppy. Any minute, this thing could put in 5 1-minute candles and be right back up to the weekly VWAP. Any minute. It's just not giving us big, bright red, thick downside candles. And that's what you would expect on a big downside, on a downside push. It's just slowly going lower. It's like barely moving. You're down 0.3%. This is your daily open. You're hardly anything. Right? Back above this white line, you're still up on the day. It's crazy. Absolute chop fest. You entered a H bar at 0.25, so I have some cushion. Coinbase doesn't have much data on it though. Yeah. I don't remember where that was in terms of where the yearly open is. I can look at it on Binance. Ooh, gosh, this thing is illiquid. Hang on. Coinbase has enough data on it because we have the yearly open. And you said you got in at 25, so you're in right here. Oh, right there. Ish, right? You're ish. There, 250 exactly. Or 25. So yeah, you do have a little bit of cushion. So basically what you want to see is you want to see this thing get back in yesterday's range. If it keeps pushing into this day's range, that's not great, right? So basically if this was just going to be a pullback day for upside continuation, it's already made, it's not. Like, this is saying something else. This is actually saying Sunday is a trap, potentially. Now, I don't know if you'll get downside continuation based on that, but that's typically what we look for if we think a market is topping out. So needless to say, like, if you get more downside, you could see this thing close down here around 26.6 today. That would be perfectly inside of this thing's capabilities. If you get all the way back to your entry, that's going to be terrible. So I would definitely be thinking about, if you are in profits, I would be watching this thing very closely today. And if it can't get back above this white line, I would very seriously think about taking some profits. This would be like as far as I would want to see it go. Right? But if it just keeps pushing through that, something else is going on. It's not just a liquidation break. Something else is happening here. But if it gets back into here, then you're still okay. Because then it might start to slowly push back into that Sunday range. So that could infer that it might be looking to go test some of those highs again. Like this high, for instance. But this looks like a breakdown candle here. Next candle to liquidate is this low. So this has to be where it stops, the midpoint. You need to see it start to reprice higher. If it doesn't, I don't like that. But here's the thing, like I said, your Tesla's still up, Apple's still up, Nvidia's still up. Microsoft is not making heavy pushes. The risk markets still look okay. Bitcoin is finding support right now, intraday on CMEs at the VWAP, the intraday VWAP. I don't know if that support will hold, but there is a pretty nice underside wick on the 30-minute candle. Well, it's giving it right back. It looks a little bit bigger on the CME, but there's still some gap to fill, right? Where's Friday's close? Around 5 o'clock. So 4 o'clock is here. So the spot chart to fill the gap would be all the way down here, but it's not that far on CME. On CME, you're almost gap fill. This isn't the intraday VWAP. This is the July VWAP. I'm sorry. But this wick high is where gap is filled. Roughly about 18,492 would be gap fill on CMEs. You're $500 away from that. It could find support here. If we shrink it and look at it, it's clearly been an area where buyers and sellers are showing up, right? But just like I said, everything has been choppy for a long time now. At some point, we need to see something. A breakdown or a break out. One or the other. I really dislike choppy markets. It's just better to get into an entry and then you get to sit in that entry for days. It's fantastic. Just makes trading so much easier. So you don't have to do anything. So that's what we want to see right here. Let's go. Smoke that low, make a fresh daily low, and give us continuation. USD JPY has rolled back over, so that's good. We want to see that. If it's pushing up into the highs, then the markets can stay bullish. If we start to see yen strength, I mean, your yen has to be stronger than your dollar in order for this to roll over. And right now, the dollar is freaking strong. Very strong. The dollar's up 0.6%. So the yen has to be stronger than this in order for the USD JPY to roll over. And they're kind of neck and neck, right? They're kind of neck and neck. There for a little bit, the yen was stronger than the dollar, because we did get a strong push. So that's all we need. We just need the yen to be a little bit stronger each and every day. Yeah, the yen futures, I've got that backwards or something. Yen futures are down. That doesn't make any sense. Yen has to be stronger than the dollar for the USD JPY to lose. But it's not losing. Not on the day. On the day, it's still up, right? On the day, it's still up. Still up nice. So clearly, the dollar's winning today. We just need the dollar to kind of weaken a little bit. Let that yen firm up a little bit. And then we'll see it start to slowly migrate away. If we're right. If this overall trend is going to resume, there's nothing in the trading world that says it has to, right? Nothing in trading land says this has to continue lower. Nothing. But if it does, I want to be short for the overall trend to resume back lower. Once again, April's high, which is this red line, is basically your bearish thesis will be invalidated. Because basically all we're looking for is for this to roll over. If it starts to break out of this, then you're going to see a potential shallower correction. Because this is the 0% on the year line. So right now it's negative on the year. So it's a shallower correction than what it was. So if it's going to resume shallow for the rest of the year, maybe it wants to retest the yearly open. So our bearish trend or bearish trade will be invalidated above April's high. And in my opinion, since you've already liquidated June and May's highs, there really is no point for it to continue higher. But if it's going to, then we'll get out. We'll be wrong, and it'll be okay. So just look at Bitcoin, and back in 2022, it was the exact same scenario right here. We were bearish, then we went into a period of 4-month consolidation here. So once we got above this swing high, that was our bearish inval thesis point. That was our yearly open. So it's not the exact same setup. That was our yearly open. So we knew this is why everybody on Twitter was calling me an idiot. They were saying that this is a Wyckoff accumulation. They were saying all that to me. And I was like, nah, it's not. It's anything but. It's literally a downtrend as long as you're under this. So if you break out above this key swing and you get resumption higher, then you can say that the short side is invalidated. But not until then. Objectively, you're bearish on the year under that. So it's the same scenario. Now, this wasn't a year trend. It was, the back half of 2021 was your trending move. Then you started a new year here, but 3 months of downside, and then 4 months of consolidation, and then 2 more months of downside. So that's what we're looking for here. Only in this scenario, it fits a larger head and shoulders formation on a monthly basis, but it fits the year trend to perfection. So this year opened, set a high, year high, and then trended down for 4 months. Then we've been sideways for 3. So you're in a 4-month consolidation here. As long as you're under April's high, then your trend is still valid to the downside. That's why this is the key invalidation point. Because if we break above this, there is potential to come back to here. And we don't want to short it in between here, because something else is going on. So if we break out here, we'll wait until the USD JPY retests 157 and see what it does then. But for now, this overall trend is still good. It's still in good shape for trend resumption lower. And a measured move from this leg of price gives you a 135 target. So that's the whole trade idea. It's just a trade idea. I don't want you guys to go into this short with 100x leverage on every dime you own. It's just a trade idea. That is all. Not all trades work. Right now, it's the best setup that I can find for trend following in Forex. Everything else is just crazy. We also have we could be looking for a downside continuation here on Aussie yen, right? Because it's yearly open. This is the first time all year it's retested that. So I kind of missed it already, right? We would have already wanted to be short that here. That would have been our short entry if we would have caught it. We just missed it. It is what it is. We'll see what it does. If it does start to trend lower, we can look for a bullish pop and sell into that. There's nothing here on pound CAD. Euro USD, you're seeing that dollar strength today. Year highs. I mean, this thing has been on a one-sided tear all year long. Here's your yearly open, straight up. And the same thing can be said for Swiss franc. Here's your Swiss franc. Literally, straight down. That's CAD. Where's the franc? Franc. Well, here, I'll just pull up the Swiss franc itself. Straight up all year. Straight up. Like, damn. Bullish move into this larger consolidation. This is a perfect measured move on a breakout. That's why you're seeing profits being taken on this. We're in the longer pattern. But for the year, it's been a one-sided move, straight up. There's just not a whole lot of setups out there that look so pretty, but that yen setup looks pretty if it works out. And only time will tell if it's going to work out or not. Unfortunately, that's all we got. That's all we got to look for. That's all we can do as analysts. We can analyze what price has been doing, but technical analysis does not tell us what it will do. I'm just making a forecast, essentially. It could just be a choppy year all year because the USD JPY has been trending rather well for the last 5 years in a row. It's been a one-sided trend almost, straight up. But now we're in a rate cutting cycle for the Fed. So that's why you've seen dollar weakness all year. That's why we saw the USD JPY go into this consolidation, because the Fed stopped, right? They started to cut rates, then they paused. They're not going to hike rates. They're just pausing. They're just giving the economy time to basically work into it. But they're still on the same path. They are still looking to cut. So when we see that cut, ultimately, maybe then we'll see the dollar cut loose again and the USD JPY will resume trend. I'm not shorting it for yen strength. It's more for USD weakness. So we just need the yen to be a little bit stronger than the USD for that pair to go down. And we'll see if it does or not. It's a good trade anyway, whether it works or doesn't. I would take that setup every single year, right? I would take that every time. It's a good setup. It's a clean setup, I should say. Not a good one, a clean one. Look at that run right there on Penguin. So just fails to make fresh lows, guys. Fails to make fresh lows. Bonk is trying to break down, but still failing to do so. Just a very slow, choppy day. We do have big news coming up this week, so that's traders are waiting for that. I mean, this calendar looks ridiculous. We don't have anything scheduled today. No scheduled reports. We got jolts tomorrow. And then everybody in the world, every central bank in the world, tomorrow, or Wednesday, sorry, not tomorrow, but Wednesday, has GDP. And then we also have, not only do we have GDP at 8:30 in the morning, but then at 2 o'clock we have an interest rate decision and then a press conference. So literally almost every day this week is a big, there's like a lot of risk scheduled. Jolts on Tuesday at 10 for the US. So Tuesday we got jolts. Wednesday we got GDP for everybody and us and the US. And we got FOMC rate decision. There's a BOJ rate decision also on Wednesday. And then Thursday we have core PCE, which is literally the Fed's favorite inflation data on Thursday. And then Friday, we got non-farm payrolls. This may be like the biggest week of the year as far as event risk is concerned. I don't think we've had another week this year where we had that many huge data point releases coming out. Like, yeah, today's probably going to be slow. Hype gave it all back almost. Bitcoin's still down around the lows. Dominance still pushing higher. So that's why we got a little bit of a move on FART. And did Bonk resume? No, Bonk is still inside of that larger wedging formation. The gold trade has worked out great. Right? It failed to break out to the upside here and rolled right back over. Rolled right back into this larger triangle. So now we're just waiting for the breakdown. If we get a breakdown, there is a larger move here. We're breaking down now, but we need to confirm that. We need to confirm it. We have confirmed the line chart breakdown, so you're seeing more sell side on gold. There's a larger term move here. See, there's the failed breakout, if I can get it. There's your failed breakout right here. So the measured move on this is large. So if you're holding gold paper or gold longs expecting a bullish breakout, you may want to rethink that. There's a downside target of 30.56 on this. GLD, our downside target puts us right back into May's lows. But I wouldn't buy a put down here long term, right? I'm actually waiting for this to bounce. Give me a day, at least 2 days of a bounce, and then I'll buy an out of the money put again. Looking for this to continue lower. So we could be looking for like a 300 strike put, but it's got to be far out in time. It's got to be far out, man. Far out. And what do we have as far as far out in time? Let's see. That's not really that far out. Where should we go on GLD? Like maybe December, November. Let's see. Could we get there late October? Maybe. Let's check the Novembers. Like the 295s. Not bad. $5. Those will pay out like $8 though if you get in the money. You get an explosive move lower, then they will pay out even more. So if we do get the larger move, you could double your money in theory. In theory. If you get it, if the larger move transpires over time. But it's breaking down now, so I expect sellers to be selling. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to catch day trade scalps on it, since it's already broke loose. It's already almost oversold on the 4 hour. You know what I'm saying? Kind of gotta wait. So this could be a failed breakdown also if it trades back up into that wedge. That just means the formation isn't correct. It'll be a larger triangle. But for now, it looks like a failed breakout and a rip to the downside with a potential measured move down to May's lows. Because this is also trading inside of April's candle. So you're an inside, trending inside candles. So I wouldn't have a target of April's lows, just May's low. But the near term target would be June's low, and that's 300. So maybe you could do that trade cheaper, go out 30 days. That low is exactly 299.89. So you could buy the 301 put, say 30 days out, and that would put you in the trade a little bit cheaper. Right? I'll leave that up to you guys, what you want to do with it. But as long as we're trading under this candle's close, I love that $300 target. Especially since you've broken out of this pattern, that triangle, to the downside. On the line chart. Very good trade. Your Elliott wave guys, your pattern traders, everybody's looking for this to have a more big move, or a bigger move to the downside, so it could reverse in all their faces also, right? Go right back to the upside. Because generally it seems like the market tries to hurt those that are on the wrong side the worst. It's a clear breakdown though. It's a clean setup also. Hype coin giving back all of that. Fart coin, oh, it's so close to hitting that fresh low of day. Looks like it's going to. So we did make our money back on that. Failed to get out of the long trade too, quick enough. We got our money back from that. So that's good. Or I got my money back, I should say. Yeah, a lot of good setups right now. We just need all this event risk to come and go to kind of help our setups play out. Bonk still chopping sideways. Wouldn't that be a disgusting candle close if it closes a bearish engulfing? Ugh. Could you Goog, yo? Yeah. Let's go look at Goog, yo. Goog is down on the day, yo. Google. It's trying to retest yearly opening range. Big candle came in there. That was earnings. Look at that freaking volume. You're not going to see that volume pre-market data. Huge volume here. I would want to see this area hold as support moving forward. That's about all I could say on Goog. It's so overbought on the daily time frame though. Google was a much better buy, like down in here looking for that correction higher. Google's a good company. They pretty much control the internet world. So Google's just a long-term buy. Anytime you get a 20% correction on it, you just put it in your portfolio and hold it. Not so much a great buy now, but if it holds that yearly opening range, we could look for long scalps, intraday scalps, but I hate looking for long intraday scalps when we're so overbought and have been overbought for a few days. But I mean, you can stay overbought for 6 weeks. So basically what I mean is that the bullish momentum is going to stay strong, then you would want to see it hold here. And that's all I got on Google. Long-term buy and hold, sure, maybe. You know what I mean? It's just, I would have done that down here for sure. Absolutely. Definitely would have been a buyer down there. Nonstop TY. What's up? What do you think about IXHL? Hear anything? I haven't heard anything. Let me check it. I'll look at everything that you guys got on there. Let me pull this up real quick because I don't even know what that is. IXHL. It's a like, is this a crypto? This can't be a crypto, right? No. All right. So this is a penny stock. They filed for common stock offering up to $100 million. That's why you got a big bounce on it the other day. But other than that, June 17th is the last time any news came out on this stock. When I see stocks like this, like I would exit. If you own it long term, I would exit on the spikes because everybody else is. That's what everybody else is doing. And that's what they have been doing since the split. Like anybody that's still in it, which isn't many, they're getting out of it. Can you make money on it because it's a penny stock? Absolutely you can. Absolutely you can, but it doesn't look like it's on the radar for anything today. Let me check some scanners to see if this is on a scanner. I don't think it is. It's not on volume gainers. If anything, it would be a percent loser because it's red on the day. It's not even there. This thing isn't on any scanners and there's no news. I don't know why this is. I don't know. I have no clue. Maybe this isn't the right thing. You literally said IXHL. That's what this is. Yeah, nobody's trading this. Not today. Yeah, no. There's nothing. There's nothing on it. I don't even know if this is a penny stock candidate. We would have to pull up. Let me see what it's got as far as the float. It's not even a low floater. I don't know why this is even being asked about, because it's not a good company to own. Anything under $5, money managers are not allowed to hold in their portfolios for their clientele, okay? Because it's a law. It's a law. Once a stock gets under $5, it's no longer investable. So the only people that own it are retail and a few shareholders, your company managers and whatnot, your employees. They obviously hold shares of stock. If they didn't sell out years ago when it was trending down. Like now, if you're buying this clearly out of speculation in hopes that this company is about to get purchased at a higher share value or something like that. Be the only reason to hold this. What's up, James? And LMT says TR. LMT. Lockheed Martin. gapping down on bad earnings. All the wars are pretty much over. I mean, clearly Russia, Ukraine isn't, but the majority of the... So, yeah, I mean, that's why it's coming off a little bit. But they're at, like, long-term lows here. So, you've got... That's a fib. We don't want that. Let me get rid of June's high and June and July open and daily support, because you're so far away from all that garbage. It's no longer needed. We have 2024's low. So on a technical basis, I could be a buyer and an owner longer term on LMT as long as it stays above 413. All right. If you break under 413, I would cut it loose. There's no way to know how low it'll go. I mean, you're taking out many month lows here. You've liquidated as far as back into 2024's ranges. So could be a buy. Could be a buy. Boeing is the one that's right now producing the new YF, what was it, 47 or whatever, the new US jet. What's it called? R-47 or F-47. Boeing has that contract. But Lockheed Martin is a good company to own as far as if you want to own defense stocks. There are a bunch of defense stocks, though. I have a whole watch list if you want it for the defense sector. Let me give you a screenshot of it to make sure you can see it. But here you go. There's my defense sector watch list. Pull it up one more second, pause the video, and that's all defense stuff right there. And the Shield is an ETF that just tracks the defense contractors. So, yeah, I mean, it's straight up. The US invests more money than any other nation when it comes to defense. Defense spending. We're almost at interest rate, or our interest that we pay on debt is almost as big as this budget, but not quite. But Lockheed Martin could be a buy just because it has liquidated those lows on that bad earnings report. It's a pretty bad earnings report, though. They have 1.29 billion in cash. That's not great. It's not terrible. I guess it's not bad considering their market cap. I mean, it's a good company to own long term, I think. It's just had a bad few years here. Yeah, long term, it's a good investable. And it's cheap right now. I mean, this could be a long-term buy from here. Cut it loose under 413 and then look to pick up shares at like 394, right? That's all you can do. You could buy it now, cut it loose if you lose a couple bucks per share, and then look for a new investment once it gets under 395, if it gets under 395. I think as long as you're above this, though, it is a decent buy. It really is. As long as you're trading above that. Because that could be the low. That could be the low for the year. It could be the low for a while. I don't know that it will be, but it's worth the risk. It's worth the investment, in my opinion. Your other one is what? IHF. This one does not look it doesn't look terrible. What's the split? Is it a reverse split? 5-1. It wasn't a reverse split. It's an ETF, so it's just they wanted to make it a little bit cheaper. It's a good looking chart long term, but for the last 4 years, it's been in a straight downtrend. You're literally on yearly lows as well. Since it's H2 and Q3, maybe. But generally when something is trending like this strong to the downside, there's an overall macro reason why. Find out what that macro reason is. And then when they start to fix that, then you can be an investor. Just trying to catch the lows isn't the best strategy in the world. And you know that, right? Trend following is the best way to do these things. Not like right now, this is on a solid 4-year downtrend. Or you could arguably wait for it to bottom. The liquidation point on this is here. And not only did you liquidate all these lows all the way to here, the next liquidation point is here. And you're like halfway there. Right? You're more than halfway there. So this has to hold. Literally, that would be the last price I could buy it. It would be the last price that I could buy it. Because if you start closing dailies under the 50% retracement of that range, which you are, then the worry is that it's going to continue lower to here to liquidate that monthly swing low. There's a quarterly swing low just under it. You have these quarter swing highs here, so maybe that's as low as it's going, right? Just picture these key, this would have been an all-time high at some point, right? That would have been the all-time high for October 19, April 2020, because this is a quarterly chart. So going into 2020, that was your all-time high. So if they're going to buy it here, because it's your breakout, so if this is a retest of support, if support forms, then you would want to see it start to slowly migrate to the upside. Is volume telling us that they're buying it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Notice the uptick in volume here. I like this one. Does this have options? And are they liquid? It does. It doesn't have weeklies. They are not liquid. It has options, but they're not liquid. The 18-day strikes are, but I don't want to get in this for 18 days because it could grind sideways here for 18 days. But yeah, I mean, as long as volume keeps coming into this heavy like this, down at this area, then I could potentially be a buyer. But my concern near term would be a liquidation lower just to liquidate these buyers. So maybe wait for that. Wait for a fresh low and then see what kind of reaction you get. If you get a good reaction after that and it starts to trade back up, then you could be a buyer of shares at 42.33. Not options. The options are not liquid out in time. I would want to be in this for at least 100 days to give it time to work. And those options are like $2 wide spreads on a $2.95 contract. The bid is freaking 135. The ask is 295. That's a $1.50 spread on a $3 option. I don't love it. I would rather buy the shares. So yeah, keep it on watch. Watch those lows. That's how I would play this. If you got a liquidation, you could buy, but if you buy like, a few shares, not like 1,000 or 1,000,000 shares of it, just buy a few shares to start. That way, if you do get a liquidation run, you don't want to see downside continuation after the liquidation. Because if you get that, then it could be heading lower. But I do like that volume has picked up here. It does look like people are interested at this price. And that's huge. That tells you a lot about the asset, right? It tells you a lot. So yeah, I like this one. I will even keep this one on watch for myself. IHF. I might even send an order real quick. Let me see what. Let me pull it up on grid. IHF. Yeah, I'll buy a few right now. Just a few. Alright. Just buy a few for now and then see what happens with it. Add to it when we get the liquidation. I'll add to it, and then if it continues, I'll just exit it for a very small loss. But I do like it for where it is. We are pushing into fresh daily lows on Fartcoin right now. We have pushed beyond to the great, through those great yonder trees and beyond. I didn't say that correctly, but it's making fresh daily lows. And we've pretty much turned red on the day with most all. Bonk is still chopping sideways, but I'm assuming you're going to lose that. Hype is, I don't know what's going on. Hyperliquid is not going to trade the same as your alts because it's an actual good exchange. It's like third, right, on crypto, on the market cap, as far as trading volumes. And this Hyperliquid exchange will make money if they get more and more users and more volumes are used. They'll start making more and more money. There is a trade on this because they buy back. They take their profits and they buy back their own coins. So a lot of people look at this as a potential investment, but it's still risky because it is an alt. But this is trading differently than like your meme tokens and things like that, right? So be careful, like shorting hype, expecting it to roll over simply because Fartcoin is making fresh daily lows. Because those two assets are not going to trade similarly to one another. So be very careful with that. XRP pushing on fresh day lows. Not quite liquidated the weekend price action yet though. But you did get at Sunday. The Saturdays would be next, but you're into daily support on XRP. For anybody that just got to the stream, there is a lot of event risk on the calendar for this week, so be very careful. Make sure you're not getting super long in front of that event risk. There's so much event risk this week, you could set fresh weekly highs and fresh weekly lows this week. So we're making fresh weekly lows right now because today's the week open, but tomorrow you got jolts. I don't know that you would get a big move on altcoins because of jolts, but then Wednesday you've got GDP and then FOMC. Thursday you have inflation data, PCE, and then Friday you got non-farm payroll, NFP. So this you could liquidate highs and lows this week. You could be setting a weekly low on XRP though. Volume uptick, but it's not more than normal. It's just average volume. So I don't see anybody like buying it up. Huge volume here. Litecoin, same thing. And you did get an uptick on volume there, but that was that a fresh low? Oh, you haven't pushed into the lows yet. Solana back under yearly opening range. I don't know that it'll stay under this. It might. Looking at it like that, this might be a failure. That's a lower high. A lower high failure above that yearly open doesn't sound great for Solana. I would have expected support to hold here today, and it didn't. We could be looking for a deeper run on Solana here, as long as it closes under the yearly opening today. We'll see how this thing closes today. Very light volume, so I don't trust the sell side yet. Look how heavy the volume was going up. Way above average though. Then this big down day was just barely above average volumes. Saturday, Sunday, no volume. Today, not very much volume, but the close will be important. We'll talk more about Solana tomorrow, going into the JOLTS data. What Penguin do? Penguin gave it all back. So still chopping though. And volume is increasing here. This volume is very, very suspect. Through the London session, heavy volume. And then light volume in the New York session. That is so suspect, bro. That is suspect AF. Dude, this looks like a buy. It just does. Look at, you had heavier volume on, but no big deep push. I guess to be fair, you're getting that push now. So someone could have just unloaded a bunch of this. Or someone's expecting it to make another push. I guess if support's holding, this is still a long. Let's see what what's this look like. So I don't love shorting this right here because of that suspect volume. But just use this 100 exponential on the 30-minute time frame for your guide. Use that as kind of like a guide. and tell yourself, if we can get back above that and hold that as support, then I probably want to be bullish on this. If it fails to start closing 30-minute candles back above it, maybe then you could look for shorts at those prices. I don't know. That volume is suspect AF. I ain't even joking. YO was referring to year open. Got it. Just pointing it out for anyone interested in the test. Yeah, the Google trade he's talking about is testing year open. It's just it's overbought on the daily. That's the only concern here. The heaviest volume was on a pullback day. Also, keep that under advisement when looking to be a buyer at that level. If it holds a support, I see no reason trading it to the upside. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with the trade. It's just what are we doing on our USD JPY is right back to day highs. So it's not working today. Not working today, but we will keep this on watch for sure. Got a daily supply zone up there, so maybe if it tags that and rejects, it can be another entry. I don't want to risk more than 2% though, and this will be a 1% loss as soon as that gets filled, a little bigger than a 1% loss. So next entry I take on it, I'm going to have to be very picky about it. Very picky, because that's a lot. The dollar is just so strong today. People taking profits on dollar shorts based on that long-term trend line. We talked about that last week. You know what I mean? This thing is in the process of breaking back to the upside, so this is going to be a profit-taking run. And then new buyers looking for a range to be built in here until we get rate cut. And then it would probably take off to the downside again. But we'll see. We'll see. It's been trending down all year, so I'm actually expecting it to stay range bound here for a little while. Right? I'm definitely not looking for shorts after it's been sold so hard. The USD yen is it's at a perfect spot for that continuation trade lower. If you get it. If you get it. So we'll see how this plays out. This is just clearly running up there to smoke the day's high. I wouldn't try to re-short it today, because once it does smoke these highs, it's probably going to push a little bit deeper. But there really isn't anything else for liquidations until you're above 149.19. So, and then 150 is short trade invalidated. 150 short trade invalidation, or the longer term setup. But we'll see what it does going on in this week. Like I said, a lot of high event risk. We'll probably get the move then. And if it does break out to the upside, I don't see a reason with looking for longs to trade it up into the yearly open retest. As it's been in consolidation long enough for the larger yearly trend to resume. A lot of Forex has been choppy right now, but see, you got a nice push off that yearly open today, but you're not getting downside continuation either. Maybe, I mean, this one just isn't as pretty. Let's see. I mean, That's a breakout on the larger time frame to the upside. So it might just be looking to go, the yen might just be looking to go lower. If the yen breaks back to the downside, that's going to support a full risk on market. And literally there will not be any reason to look for shorts in risk on asset class. Oh yeah, you've already liquidated May's low. I'm actually more interested in that than July's. So for the larger like time frame risk on, a weak yen supports that for sure. But see, it could just be making another liquidation. Something like this, like it did back in the past, right? Set a low, made a big run up, came back down, liquidated the low, and then boom. I saw something like that though a lot better on a different one, on a different asset. I'm not really seeing it. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I don't remember which asset it was, but we'll keep it on watch. Keep it on watch. Most of everything is just like in a pullback period right now. Fartcoin pulling back. Hype pushing. Bonk might have been a short opportunity up there. I wasn't paying attention to it. Penguin's got the very, very suspect volume. Daily chart is wild. Farm company developing new sleep apnea drug. Oh, gotcha. That they're talking about the IXHL. It's a pharma company developing a new sleep apnea drug. So yeah, I mean, it's cheap enough to where if you bought a few shares of it, you could capitalize on a big gain if they do have a breakthrough. Penguin's cutting loose to the downside right now. It's already down almost 4% on the day though, so I don't love opening a fresh short down here. And Fartcoin looking for a deeper push. Bitcoin's pushing up. You're just getting a slight pullback on dominance. Intel got a slight bounce, but it got crushed off of earnings. I mean, I don't like Intel anymore. Their chart says it says a million words to me. Just stay away from it. Scam pump. Yeah, I mean, it is, right? It is. When you're that cheap, every one of those big pumps will get sold into because shareholders that have been holding it for years and years, and it's just been going down and down and down, to reserve any of their money back or any respect they still have, they want to just exit. So basically, anytime you get those big pumps like that, it's people that have been long-term holders just getting out. They're just so sick of it. They just want out. They just want out. And that puts in more and more selling pressure long-term, because every pump ultimately gets sold off. Like, the pattern has been, you can be long this thing until it puts in like 2 solid red days, and then you're done. Your pump is over. I mean, right here you got 2 days of downside and then another lick pump, and then it rolled over. I mean, this is just, they're getting out. They're done. So maybe some news did come out that I don't have, talking about that sleep apnea drug. It's cheap enough to where you could buy 100 shares of it. That way, if it did explode, you would make a couple $100 on it, right? And all you would lose if it goes to zero is $100. So for that, yeah, I could see investing in a few shares for something like that. SUI might be forming a double bottom on the small time frames. And it's retesting yearly open. It's a bearish engulfing on the daily. I don't see a double bottom, but it may be. This looks like a downside continuation move to me. I mean, you might be able to say you might be seeing a little bit of recovery after you close above 413-ish, but I mean, the sellers, where will they come back? Think about anybody that's looking for fresh shorts on this. They have a potential trade here at 413. If they're expecting another downside candle like that, boom. Right, that gives them a $3.98 target or a $4 target. As far as percents go, that's a tradable move. That's a 2.4% move, just down to $4. But it is retesting the yearly opening range. So if long-term buyers, remember it's late month, so you're not going to see any heavy buyers coming in here late month. But maybe if they're trying to get ahead of the August open, they could be buyers here. But we're not seeing volume tell us that. We're not seeing volume spikes. Down here, you would want to see volume building up, trying to like show you that there's a bottom being formed. You're not seeing that as far as the volume signature is concerned. So be careful buying it here. And don't try to buy it more than once. Give it one try to see what happens and leave it alone, because dominance is trending higher all day. That'll put pressure on alts. Maybe if Bitcoin bottoms, then you can see alts bounce, and that is a very big level to watch on SUI. So I don't see a problem with it. Taking a shot at it. So late in the day, and we got no news event risk today. That's all this tomorrow and next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So the next 4 days going to be huge. Potentially big volume days for some of these. So that's when we'll probably see larger moves. Some of these things that have been building in a multi-day range, we could potentially see them break those ranges then, right? So today, be careful if you are trading, trade light position sizing, light leverage, just to, pad the stats a little bit, pad the stats, get you a little bit of money up. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, will be big days. Friday is your month August open and NFP. By then we'll have the new inflation data, which is on Thursday, PCE, and we'll have a new GDP print on Wednesday and FOMC meeting. So no one's expecting a rate cut on Wednesday. The rate cut is being priced in or planned on to happen in September. Right? September is when they're planning a rate cut. 97.4% chance that it stays the same rate. And then you got a 60% chance of a rate cut, a 25 basis point cut. For September. So probably won't be a lot of news. I think the GDP will be more important than the FOMC on Wednesday. I could be wrong. If they come out and surprise everybody with a cut, then yeah, that could change a lot of things. And if a positive GDP, do we have expectations on GDP? Yeah, see, everybody that was looking for a recession, you need 2 negative GDP prints in a row. That's just one aspect of data that you need to say, yeah, we're heading into a recession. There are 4 other metrics that the MBER looks at to judge a recession. And all the other indicators that they look at are not showing a recession. This GDP print is expected to be positive 2.4%. So you had one negative print, then right back to positive. That's good. So as long as everything comes out with expectations, then we're probably going to see more bullish price action on risk assets. Your ES and NQ literally could just keep going up and up and up. We're not seeing the VIX explode. It's doing the opposite, right? It's consolidating the lows. This is a bearish pattern, not a bullish pattern. Bearish pattern. And we like to see the VIX head lower. That makes puts cheaper. It makes volatility, it sucks for us because we like trading volatility. We like to capitalize on volatile moves. So the ranges are smaller, but it just means you should be buying dips. And then as far as the SPX, your measured move or expected move for this week is only 85 points. So even with all of that event risk that's planned in for this week, they still only expect an 85 point move. That's crazy. I figured that it would be pricing in at least 100 points, 115 point move for this week, but nope, 85 points. So that tells us right there that the options market is not expecting any really big volatility this week. And when you're not expecting big volatility, then you gotta trade for the slow, methodical rise. We are in a very, very bullish market right now. You are not seeing inflation tick up. It's going the opposite direction. We did get one tick up, but on the year, it's trending down. Remember, we don't get too worried over 1 month print. We look at it as a year trend, everything, price and news, everything. We look at the yearly trend. As long as everything is still trending in the same direction, then we stay bullish for risk and your broader markets, which is good news for Bitcoin long term, in my opinion. As long as there's not severe risk out there, then Bitcoin should ultimately continue to trend higher. It's all of your doom naysayers out there. They're the ones that want bear markets. Now the VIX is pricing in a little bit of risk forward looking on the futures. The VIX futures, you do see that. So that's a little something, but that's more or less, we can look at the skew. And if you have a high skew, then that forward looking risk is more or less hedging activity, right? And we do anything over 130 is high. Anything above 130 is considered a lot of hedging activity. And that's normal. That's normal for, like, if this was golf, that on a par 4 hole, this would be within that, right? Within a bullish market condition. Everything looks okay. We're not really concerning here. But in order for alts to continue higher, for alt season to stay intact, we do want to see these things find support. And let's go look at the ETH BTC chart to see if that strength is continuing. It is. You made a fresh higher high today. So you've broken out here. Long term, you got a nice impulse week higher. Last week was a pullback, but still made a higher high and a higher close. So for anybody that's sitting in long ETH positions and have been in long ETH positions, you're still safe. Those positions are still safe. I would start getting a little bit concerned if or when you get under this, the midpoint, so 31.23, because then the target becomes this weekly low. But long term, as long as you're above the midpoint of this big boy here, I think you're okay. But you might build in a several week range here, like you did down here. And that would be very healthy for the long-term growth expectations on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So I don't see any reason to be worried here. Just because today's red, big deal, right? Today still fits. I mean, you made a higher high. It's still a trending to the upside candle. As long as today's low stays in, yesterday's low stays intact, you're good. This looks very good for upside continuation. It looks good. A lot of people are going to see this as a rejection failure. I will not until it's a bearish engulfing. If it becomes a bearish engulfing today, then I would say, okay, well, it's profit taking at best. But it still looks great. I mean, it still looks good. A slow, methodical rise is normal bullish behavior. And then what does ETH versus the dollar look like? Because today the dollar is strong. So it's normal that we're seeing a red day on Ethereum and Bitcoin based on dollar strength. The dollar is extraordinarily strong today. Very strong. So this is normal. If the dollar starts to pull back, then you're probably going to see these things continue. I'm not expecting the dollar to pull back. I'm just saying if it does. I'm actually expecting the dollar to break out of this larger descending wedge formation. But it's still not a very steep point. So it's like they can still consolidate for a lot longer. But you got your buyers, they got out of their shorts right there. They were not going to attempt that. Not looking for a breakdown. That's a long-term trend line. In fact, the dollar has not traded much under that since 2011. Since those lows were put in. And those are higher lows comparative to the 08 lows. So since this bullish trend has been in, it has held and caught the lows on the dollar. I don't expect it will hold this time. Maybe it holds for the rest of the year. I don't know. But ultimately, as long as we're in a rate cutting cycle with the Fed interest rate decision, then obviously I think it'll break. Eventually, it'll break these lows. Right? And it's I just don't know where we should be looking for that short. Right? But ultimately, I do expect these lows to get smoked in the future for anybody that's just buying the trend line. Larger term consolidation on the dollar for until we get the rate cuts. So at least until September. So for the dollar, my expectation, August price action would be choppy. Inside July even. Maybe. If it breaks out, maybe you get a little near-term bullish momentum to set the monthly high for August. But we'll see what we get this week with the high event risk. Big stuff. Gap just filled on Tesla. Which gap? Let me go pull that up. Yeah, and our IWM is failing to get any sign of upside continuation from here. And there is a larger wedge formation happening. So if it breaks back under this, then I might be short IWM. Just until rate cuts. Rate cuts will probably be bullish for IWM. And here's Tesla. Yeah, gap filled. Yep. Tesla's still in a larger triangle formation here. So there really is... I mean, if you're trading the weekly ranges, then that's okay. Like if you're scalping, I don't see a problem with it. Weekly res also is right around that gap fill. And then if you fib last week's range, you're right at the 786. So you could see a little bit. You could see sellers kick up here. But if we look at the trending aspect, Tesla's still bullish. Right? Not right now. Don't be buying Tesla here. Up here, that's not what I'm saying. This would have been the long this morning on Tesla. Right? So today, if we were looking to trade Tesla at the open, we would have been looking for the long, not the short. But overall, it looks okay. When it breaks out or breaks down out of this formation, then there's going to be a larger move in play on Tesla. Like 100 points. It's a big range. Very big. Very big range. Huge. So wherever the breakout comes, you could expect, or not expect, but anticipate this size of a candle. So you could anticipate this to the upside, or this to the downside. It's a big move in play on Tesla coming up. I was kind of hoping that when it broke down the first time, that it would keep that breakdown, because we would have been able to trade it. But it didn't. It reversed. It reversed at the lows and boom, filled that big gap there as well. So yeah, everything looks okay. We're seeing a very, very small pullback on the ES and NASDAQ today. Bitcoin almost filled the CME gap. It hasn't quite. There's still the CME gap on the Bitcoin, but it isn't much of a gap. I mean, I would myself would say that gap is filled. Like, I don't know if buyers will jump on it based on that data, but I think that's a good enough gap fill. So from this high, you almost filled the gap. And that's a decent reaction off of that July VWAP there on Bitcoin as well. So if you're looking for like intraday scalps on Bitcoin today, I would probably still have a bullish bias, even though you're red on the day, just based on that reaction. Now, there's resistance right here, but still, the larger time frame chart on Bitcoin is still bullish. The intraday chart doesn't look great. So you'll have to contend with intraday sellers, but the larger time frame chart looks fantastic. Like, we're probably getting ready to see it rock and roll, depending on how this week goes. So I don't have a problem with looking for longs at 117,975, as long as you're not closing 30-minute candles under that point. If you're closing 30-minute candles under that point, then it could be looking for a deeper retest, like the 50% retracement or last week's open. If you break under last week's open, then last week's low becomes the target. But as long as your closes are higher than this point, I think risk is to the upside on Bitcoin. Anything else? Anybody got any other questions or any other assets that you want me to look at? And we'll wrap this baby up. I'm in the fart short still. I'm not going to do anything with it because it's trending in the right direction for me. I made the small loss that I took on it. I made that back. So the day today, as long as I close this out with an $80 win or higher, will be a $250 win. Last week we made quite a bit of money. This is a small account, so we're only trading alts with small positions because I just want to show everybody that you can make $2,000-$3,000 a week trading alts with a small account. Like with $1,000 in your account, you could make that kind of money easily, right? You don't need to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in your account. You can literally just consistently make decent returns. Alts are fantastic for that. Love it. And Farcoin, to be honest with you, the reason I'm not going to close it out, I mean, is this thing's only down 1%. On a normal volatility day, Farcoin can move anywhere between 5 and 10%, and that be within standard, like a standard deviation move. So we're just down 1.8%. This thing could move down another couple percent easily. It could also find the lows easily and move up 4%, right? That's why when it's choppy like this, just get in, get a couple percent move in your direction, get out, and then wait for another setup, and then look to do it again. Just keep doing that. It's called padding the stats, growing the account. Love it. Love it. Circle. I had that on the watch list, but I took it off. Oh, I did that wrong. Wait. It's CRCL, right? You typed in CRLC? I don't know if that's even a ticker. So I'm assuming you're talking about CRCL, which is Circle. It has been volatile lately. It's been a good trading asset. longer term, I mean, there's not much data on it. So if long-term people are expecting this to remain bullish, which, you know, it's consolidating highs. So this would be your ICO or IPO, right? It IPO'd and it moved up. Now it's consolidating those gains. This is constructive over time. Over time, it's constructive. I like it. It looks good. You're still up. However, that bullish momentum is waning, which is okay. It's okay. There's not a lot of data, unfortunately. You're trading inside last month's range, right? We know that. So as long as you're trading under, well, let's just look at weeklies. Let's not even go that route. Let's just look at weeklies. So you've liquidated week 2, right? This would be week 1. Well, no, this would be week 1 for July, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. It doesn't make sense. There's only 4 weeks in July. So anyways, you're back to your open on July. That's okay. You're getting ready to open August. Okay? So as long as you're still inside July's range, July's low is here. As long as you're inside July's range, that's okay. That gives us something to aim for and look for in August, next month, which is Friday. Friday is August 1st. NFP day is August 1st. That's a monthly open. You could, in theory, see this thing open Friday and rip. Right? So there's July's low. You've got daily support right here. That's 178.04. Those are areas that I would expect a bounce from. Or anticipate, not expect, sorry. I wouldn't expect it, but I would anticipate it. Anticipate a bounce from 177.97. If today closes back inside of Friday's range, then you may be testing this candle's support for now. And if it closes higher than this, then support might be in. And you could look for that move back higher into the range, getting the closer you get to August. See, it's late month, guys. Take in when you're analyzing your price charts, keep that in mind. Time is important. It matters. It matters so much. It matters way more than you think. Think of yourself as an investor who wants to invest in Circle and has $2 billion of people's money under management. You have to think like that. So are you going to invest in July's range when it's right back at the open? Or are you going to wait for August? You'll wait for August, right? Because any gains that happened in the month of July has already came off. Like, people took profits. You set a high of the month and rolled over. That's profit taking. So anybody that bought July, right here is the open. So anybody that bought in the month of July, they've taken profits and it's now pulled back. So you don't necessarily want to buy it here because obviously the intraday and intra-week traders are controlling price action right now. But this is at the area that we will start to anticipate a bounce. So we'll keep Circle on the watch, on the list for watch. There's really nothing to do on it today. The trade for today already took place. We'll break that down. I'll break it down for you. I'm not afraid to break down intraday price action. That's what I do, right? So back over in here, it would have been a lot more difficult, a trade. But once we broke through here, it became a little bit easier. So we would have wanted to be a near-term seller as long as price on an intraday basis is under this. Now, there wouldn't have been an opportunity, to be honest with you, because you're so far stretched out. But today would have been a freaking easy trade for us. Easy peasy. You had 2 intraday resistance levels to look for short entries there. That would have been pre-market entry. Anything under that is okay, and anything under 197.25 is okay. At the open, we would have been a seller. Just at the open. That happened so fast, it probably happened inside of 30 seconds. It did. So if you would have been quick on the draw, if you would have been able to get a fill, you could have been a seller on the open. On the open. And we would have been, because where that 30-minute level is, like that moving average is beautiful. It just helps with the intraday and near-term trend. You can backtest this. It especially works good on trending assets. Right? So IWM is in chop mode right here. But as long as you're under it, you're a seller. Now, your profit target max would be here. Closing above, you got to be careful looking for shorts, because it might be a trend reversal. You might be looking for long trades, not today, but tomorrow or the next day upon retests. You could have bought there. Now, clearly we would have gotten stopped out, right? But if we were looking for trend continuation, we would have been a call buyer on like at 11:30 in the morning on IWM here. It just wouldn't have worked. We would have got stopped out. But it's also in a choppy environment. When something is trending, it makes it a little more easy. We got long. Okay, for instance, let's do it this. Instead of just trying to find a trade to show you what I'm talking about, I'll just show you a trade we took based on the same thing. Where did it? Oh, I'm on the wrong watch list. Was it this day where we got long Tesla? At the open? It looks like it fits. It was about that. Let's see here. Let me make sure I wasn't looking at the wrong one. No, it fits. We got long Tesla and it moved up pretty much the rest of the day. We got long based on that, right? Based on that moving average on a 30-minute time frame. And today we would have been able to buy it as well. We didn't, but we would have been able to. So like in this scenario, you would have been a buyer here on a retest, right? As it's trending higher and you're expecting the trend to continue. But you wouldn't have stayed in it for very long, right? Because you want to see higher closing 30-minute candles. And you got them for 3 30-minute periods. But this time, this one closed lower. So on this candle, you would have been getting out. You would have been like, well, shit. It doesn't look like it's wanting to work out, right? You can see that it's clearly building in a flag formation, a bear flag. Well, you don't want to try to stay long in front of that, because you're anticipating a potential breakdown if it just stays trading real close to it. I think this was the day where we got long based on the fact that we were above it, and this was the bear trap. Remember, I was talking about if this is a trap on the daily, a bear trap, because let's replay. Right here was the trade. It was here. I remember this absolutely perfectly now. So we were looking for this to be a trap on the daily time frame, because we closed the day under the 21 exponential. So let's pull up the 21 EMA as well. But we were a buyer on this day at the open because of the moving average, the 100. We had a stop like down in this area. If we closed under it, we were going to exit the trade. But anyways, the daily looked like this. That's the trap. So when we came into the daily session, before we even had the open, we knew we wanted to be a buyer at the open in anticipation of this being a trap. So we were long, and it worked. But they don't always work. That's why you mitigate your risk. This is why you don't, when I tell you guys don't set in losing trades, there's a reason for that. You don't have to. You do not have to set in a losing trade. Exit it. Take your loss. You're not trying to have a 100% hit rate. You're trying to grow your account over time. In order to do that, you must get out of your losses when they are small. Don't let them get massive, because then it gets harder and harder to make money. You're trying to rebuild your account after you decimated it. It's much easier to grow the account when you're exiting the losses when they're small and manageable than you can when you do hit nice home run trades off the open and stuff like that. You get in, you make a lot more money than you lose when you're wrong. There would have been a no setup here on this day, just no setup, right? Too close to support to be a seller. I mean, you can just see it in hindsight. So if you can see it in hindsight, then you can do it in foresight, right? Just make sure you're keeping an eye on your daily time frame as well. That's important. Your daily charts are super important. It gives you the ranges, what's been happening through the week, which is important to know. Like today's the first day of the week, and you're exploding back to the upside. You're choppy because we were right back. We went right back where we got long a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So it's clearly choppy. But as long as you're threatening a breakout and close above this 21 on the daily, you got to give respect to the bulls. So moving on tomorrow and going on into the week on Tesla, on pullbacks, or when you have the new daily candle, if you're close to this and price is above it, then you would be looking to be a buyer on any pullbacks into it. And eventually, when the breakout happens or breakdown, whichever one, there will be a longer trending move involved in this. So we're literally going to catch a big trade on Tesla pretty soon. We just had earnings last week, so that risk is off the table. We don't have to worry about that. Right? So we got a big move incoming on Tesla. And we're going to nail it. We're going to nail it out of the park. It's going to be a home run, hopefully. That's what I'm trying to get you guys ready for. Not today. We could have got long today, but just didn't. For whatever reason, I just didn't see it. But that's what I'm looking for all the time. It's the same setup that I look for on a daily basis. But I do want to know where we are in time, in the monthly range, because I don't necessarily want to be a buyer late month. I would much rather, if I'm looking for asset growth for the month, I would much rather be a buyer near and around the open of the month. And if that coincides with a beautiful day trade setup, perfect. I'll take it, right? Boom. And then hopefully I can get in that biatch and stay in it for a month. I don't have to keep taking trades, opening and closing trades. I want to be able to open it and leave it open and let it just grow. When it's choppy, we can't do that. So we're not looking really, this week we're just scalping to be scalping. Especially alts. Because Bitcoin hasn't made up its mind what it wants to do yet. And that's going to be relative. It's going to be hugely relative. Like Bonk just made a bear trap down here. The fact that it couldn't break out to the upside, this could be huge on Bonk. Bonk could be done. But it's late month. So next Friday will be Friday, and then week after that's going to be very fun because we could position ourselves for a month-long short on this. Depending on what's going on, where it is, what's price been doing, how's it acting. This looks like it's trying to break down. The breakouts have failed, and since it's late month though, the buyers could just be waiting. Let's just give it a minute. This isn't a long-term range. This is literally a week range. Like it's last week. You're an inside candle. That's last week's range. So you got time. You have not missed the bonk, short or long. You've not missed anything. What you have missed probably is a lot of chop losses. Okay? Be patient with me. I will do my best to position you the right way. That's what I'm trying to do. Trying to get a read on what price is doing, how everyone's feeling, what's going on across the market wide, right? Because I know this for a fact. Alt season is going to play out better if the VIX is trading on the lows than if the VIX was trading up at highs. If you got a 30-40 VIX, I hardly doubt you're going to see an alt season. You know what I mean? I doubt that. You want a low VIX. You want risk to be on for an alt season. And that's the conditions we have right now. Risk is on. So if it stays like that, going into August, we'll probably be looking for longs. On some, and some will be looking for shorts. Bonk's super strong right now, but we're not expecting the ETF news is going to be good. But this is a bull flag. There's no other way to see that. This doesn't have yearly growth, does it? No. Yeah, it is. It is up on the year. That would have been a fantastic day to look for longs. Bam! Holy shit. I wish I could do that day over. Because I would have done it differently. Thank you for your time. Thank you. All right, guys, I guess we're going to wrap this up. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Be careful going forward. It's very choppy out there. Very choppy. Late month chop. Got a lot of news coming up Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I think we'll do pretty good as the week gets on later in time. But if you do continue to trade today, be very careful. Understand your trend is likely not going to continue, whether you are bullish or bearish. It's likely going to rotate and come back to your entry. Knowing that, please trade smart, trade safe, and as always, happy trading, everybody.